1,000 schools from all the divisions to NAIA that offer golf scholarships, and it's a great opportunity. And I think once we start developing some better, we have good American golfers, Fowler, Spieth, and Bubba, I mean many, but the more of those players we develop at a higher level, the more interest all of a sudden is surrounded. I mean, more Americans are going to win the USAM if you have more good American golfers, and that's publicized on ABC, ESPN. So I think it's all about awareness. You know, the more Americans you get involved into it, the more, not just from an immediate golf perspective, but the parents are involved, their friends are then involved, their family is involved, and they talk about it to others. So it's, you know, word of mouth, and just getting more people involved creates this whole hype around something. And I think that's the direction they need to go. And it's improving, so I think it's slowly getting there, but need to up it a little more.
I actually had one other question, golf related. Do you think that I heard some of the on-air talent, radio and TV, kind of being critical of, as far as, like you said, with the marketing of the players? One detail that was kind of being held against Spieth was that he doesn't bring any edge to the field. But he was actually criticized by some for being supportive of the British Open winner, who was a buddy of his. And, some people compared or contrasted that against Tiger, that when he was winning, or, when he was competing pretty well, he didn't celebrate everybody else. And so it was kind of like, now we have us a star in Spieth, and now we're going to kind of hold it against the guy because he seems to be, he plays well with everybody. He's playing along well with others. Do you think?
Go ahead.
I was just saying, do you think we need some rebel out there, somebody with that edge? Is that needed, or should we just move on and just accept this kid for who he is?
I think you're the famous saying, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean, people don't like Bubba Watson, and he got a horrible rating because of his attitude, I guess, towards other players. And yet, people don't like it when he does it, but then people loved it when Tiger did it. And personally, when I'm competing, I have that attitude where I'm, I don't want to say I'm not friendly, but I'm focused. I'm in the zone. I'm here to beat you. But then again, I think after that's done, in many Michigan amateurs, I'd play one of my closest friends, and during the 36 holes, it was just cutthroat between me and him. But once that was over, it was, behind us. And I think on the course, Spieth has that attitude. I really think he's out there to just step on your neck and destroy you by 15 shots. And
I got that feeling.
And I like that, and I think that's fine. And then once you're off the course and it's done, I don't think it matters. I mean, the same people that are saying that are the same ones that love the fact that Dwayne Wade and 13 other NBA stars take family vacations together, So, I mean, it's not like, I feel like when you have other sports doing it, you can't really criticize someone in golf for doing the same thing. Like I said, it was 2 months ago after the NBA Finals, they all took a big trip together from multiple players, superstars from different teams, all hanging out. But as long as your business is done on the court or on the course or wherever it is, and you're playing with that attitude and that you're not going to win mentality, or you're not going to lose mentality, I think we'll call it when you're off the clock, I think it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think the game itself is going to dictate that these guys turn it up once they do get on the court and, kind of take on that foot on the neck, that killer attitude towards their competition. So I didn't think it was a bad thing. At that point when Spieth was waiting around, it wasn't like he could do anything on the leaderboard, to change the score up there. So, it was just him being a good teammate, a good American. So, I didn't make much of it. I just, that was some of the criticism was that he's not bringing the controversy or any drama. And, sometimes that's what people need. But moving on, I want to get you out of here, man. A couple of NFL stories came out. I don't know if you saw the Alden Smith, troubled guy the last few years. He was abruptly released by the 49ers. I actually took a moment yesterday and kind of skimmed through the article on Houston's Arian Foster coming out and saying that he doesn't believe in God. So that's kind of catching some fire right now. Any thoughts on either of those subjects?
I don't think professional athletes sometimes should have a social media account. So I'm assuming that's probably where the "I don't believe in God" came from or was leaked.
No, that was a pretty lengthy piece on ESPN's Grandland.com. That's what was kind of awkward to me was that they actually flew somebody down there to Houston to cover this story in depth. Yeah, it was a really long article.
I think, and maybe it's just a new direction in sports, but I don't really like getting into it. I think sports it's a part of society, yes, but I think it always has been, at least prior to, seems like last few years, been a separate entity from everyday issues. It was like your escape from talking about religion, race, politics, other views, gay marriage. But it seems like everything now is in sports, and all the athletes want you to know about their personal opinions. And I don't know if it's good or bad for it, but it seems like lately big time ESPNs and Fox Sports TV, and they're talking about more social issues with athletes than what's going on in training camp right now, or the off-season trades in the NHL, or who's gonna fight for that last wild card spot. It just sometimes that stuff overshadows the sport itself, and I'm not a big fan of that. I think if you're asked about it, in public or in an interview, you can comment on it. But sometimes I just think they put themselves out there on their opinions for more of a self-absorbed reason, if you will.
Right. I actually think I think his thinking on it is pretty well constructed. I mean, he seems to be a pretty thoughtful guy in general, and I think that's kind of one of his motives is that he wants to be perceived as, more than just a jock or an athlete. And he's, like I said, I would suggest to anybody that's listening, take a moment and check out that article, because you might be uncomfortable with his views on things, but I think he made some good points, and really he just kind of challenged people who have stronger belief systems to make sure you know what you're talking about, instead of just, sometimes we make these offhanded comments to one another, and don't really either know some scripture behind it, or, it's just, it's easy to just say God is good, blah, 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 and that just covers it. So I think he just challenges the believers that he encounters, have a little bit more substance to what you're out here talking about. Like I said, I thought the article was written pretty well. I just will say, I think it just, to your point that you made earlier, I just think in general right now in the country, everybody's taking a stand for their cause. Whether it's the Caitlyn stuff, gay marriage, guns, Confederate flag, I think it's just everybody just wants to represent their cause right now. And I think part of that article mentioned that this is kind of like Arian Foster is being the figurehead or the face for this non-believer movement. I forget what the organization's name is, but he's actually being like the spokesperson for that now. So I don't know, immediately checking into social media a little bit, people were just saying maybe because, the simple shots get taken, which was maybe he can't stay healthy because he doesn't believe in anything, whatever. Any chance you think, moving along, would you be disappointed if any? And this is my final, our final topic. But any chance you think somebody takes a chance on Alden Smith? I didn't read the whole story right now, but it seems like it was a possible DUI. But the police report that I saw didn't indicate that he was truly. It was proven that it was a DUI, but that's what's going across on ESPN right now, is that it was a traffic stop, a hit and run, a DUI, and quickly he was released. Would you be disappointed if another team picked him up?
I'd say yes, and the reason behind it is I think at some point when you commit either a misdemeanor or a felony, or you're breaking the law, the NFL, it seems to be, or thinks they're very bulletproof, and it may not be affecting their products, but in reality, when you see what players get away with these days, and not just the NFL, like Patrick Kane is now a suspect in a potential rape case, and we'll see how that plays out. But and if convicted, he needs to serve the penalty that you and I would serve if that was an everyday person. And I think we need to bring these stars back down to reality. And when you commit a crime, you need to own up to it, and you need to own those punishments and whatever comes to you that you deserve. And it sets a precedent and an example for college players, high school players, middle school players, we can do whatever we want because we play sports and we get away with it. And that's the culture that professional sports has made. I mean, I've seen it in a college level at not just in my school, but I had friends at other universities playing, and the same stuff goes on everywhere. And the thing is, you can get away with it because you're an athlete, because you play football. But it's just not how it should be. I mean, I can't believe the Cowboys signed Greg Hardy. He was convicted of domestic abuse, and charges were filed, and then no one confirmed it, but he paid the girl off, and she disappeared, and the whole thing went away, and it's okay. But Ray Rice can't get a deal when he's still married to his wife, and he went through the proper steps. What he did was wrong, but then after he learned from his mistake, he took the right road, and he speaks on it. He's a face of domestic violence in terms of improving and not allowing domestic violence. He's taking a stand against it now. Like, he's doing the right thing, and he's not getting that second chance, and it's probably because he's older and his playing abilities isn't as great. So I guess to recap, we have to stop allowing performance on the field to oversight the things that you have done that are illegal or horrible or harmed others, because it's setting that example from the top down.
Right. I would agree. And, sitting here now, a buddy of mine, a fellow Redskins fan, he called me after we signed Junior Gillette, and it is kind of a bad taste in my mouth with the way that we acquired him and the baggage that he's bringing. But, it seems like the legal system and the league has to weigh in on whatever they want to do with him, so I have to roll with that. But it just seems like now, if a team did jump out here and pick up Alden Smith, and to your point, Alden Smith probably brings more production to you at this stage in his career than what a Ray Rice would bring to a team. But I really do have a problem with him not being able to get a second chance. At least, some of these teams like Arian Foster's hurt right now. Could they bring in a Ray Rice and kick the tires on him and see what he does bring to the field or bring to the team? But like you said, I think Ray Rice has, when I listen to him, man, he sounds like a guy that's just really hurt. And like you said, he's done a lot of the right steps to get back in good standing. He is with his wife, and it just seems like, he was such a well-liked guy before his fall, and it just seems like it would be a little bit of a shot at redemption for the guy. I mean, he is a family man, and now we've robbed him of the ability to earn a living for his family. And I just think that was a little unfortunate. Hey, man, I don't want to hold you up any longer before you go out here and shoot today. Any last comments on anything in the sports world?
No, I'm just I'm excited to see how this PGA turns out, and I'm really excited for college football season to start. And